Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Kat.
And together we are Florry the Lorry. A week ago now, we asked if anybody had any questions about Florry the Lorry or us or life or anything else. We've got those questions together now, and we're going to try and answer them. This should be fun. So, first question was Mark Stewart, Horsebox Campers. Love it. How easy is it to find park-ups in UK and Europe in a 7.5 tonner?
Well, in Europe, I was worried about that when we first started because we've always travelled around Europe in motorhomes, but obviously this is the biggest. And actually, we had no problems at all. We rarely had any difficulties because we used Park for Night.
The Park for Night app is excellent. There's also the books called All the Airs, where you get a map of where every single area is with all the GPS coordinates and stuff like that. That's very good. You do have to be aware if it says it's for small vehicles, stuff like that, with Park for Night.
But generally it's been
Google
fine.
Street Map as well.
Yeah, we did look at Google Street Map.
Lower hanging trees. I think it's worth saying we've spent nearly 10 years going back and forth to Europe.
Yeah, so we do know.
So we knew areas anyway.
Places, yeah. But we also did park at times. We've parked in supermarkets, in a car park. We've parked in a garage where we broke down. There were times the park-ups weren't always the best and the most beautiful, but that was fine too. But on the whole, actually, it really wasn't a problem. It was quite surprising how we managed to get to even small little locations. But no,
we have stayed in some terrible places, and we've stayed in some amazing places.
Yeah,
I think it's a mix.
Yeah, but
yeah.
No problem because of the size. We didn't really come across snow.
So next question, Steve Dorbin. Any problems with the height?
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve. Interesting, her height one. Just where we live here, there is a 3.1 meter bridge, which is pretty low, and both my sat navs tell me to go through there, and I can't. And I'm 3.8 meters. So yeah, that's wrong, which is worrying. Even Google tells me I can go down there. So in terms of height, no, not really, because the sat nav, like I said, it's programmable with the height and width of the vehicle, so it takes me on longer routes. And we kind of use a combination of, are there warning signs if it says it's going to be 4 hours longer than Google says. So generally, no, not really. The only other issue is when you're parking up, if you come to an area in Europe or something like that, there's low trees or things like that. Best if, one of us gets out and guides the other one
That's
in.
Me.
Yeah, let's be honest. While I reverse it, Catherine guides me. So
I don't do a lot of the driving. I can drive the truck, but I don't do a lot of the driving. Yeah.
Our ex-London bus asked, did Rolo take to living in a lorry, and is he settled when he stays behind?
Well,
he's asleep on the floor just down there. Really.
I was about to say, where is he? Quiet. We got Rolo from 8 weeks old, and we had the lorry. So he grew up coming to the lorry whilst we did the build every other weekend and sometimes every weekend. So he was very used to this lorry. Meanwhile, while we were doing the lorry up, we still had a motorhome, which he also used to go travelling in the holidays, camping, and we took him across to France once to try out how it would all work. And so he's grown up with it, really, and he's used to it. It's his home.
The bulk of his life, this has been his home. If I open the cab door, Roller will try and get in, regardless of if I'm going somewhere or just getting some spanners out or something.
And where we're parked now, actually, when Chris takes the lorry out to go and get the LPG, like recently, there is a house here, and we were, obviously we're just on the drive and living on the drive and using the garden. But when he went out, Rolo actually waited for the front for the truck to come back and for the lorry to come here so he could come back in home. It's what he knows. It's his home. It's his safe place. And he just often just wanders back in and sleeps, and he's fine. He loves it. He's used to it. He doesn't mind being left alone either. When we were travelling in Menorca, he was left the longest period of time he's left is 3 hours, is when we go diving and things. And he just sleeps, and we know he's okay because we actually even sit up.
We set up a camera to see what he did.
Yeah, to see if he was anxious when we're away, because obviously you never know. He's just fine. He just sleeps. He jumps on the sofa.
They also asked, what is our preferred social media? Insta, Facebook, Gram.
Instagram. Yeah, we did say Instagram. We really like Instagram because it seems really nice, and everyone seems really friendly, and I like Facebook for the groups and to get information, and it's kind of different, isn't it? It's different, but Facebook does have, it seems recently on some of the groups and things, lots of arguments and people being horrible to each other, van lifers being horrible, which, not van lifers, people being horrible to van lifers who are having to move. And I get a bit upset with Facebook with the negativity that comes out of it. So Instagram's good for that.
I gotta say my favourite group on Facebook is Motorhome Happiness. Because
Yeah,
there's no negativity.
Yeah,
if you I always kind of think if you've got something derogatory to say, why not just keep scrolling?
Just I don't see why you have to be unkind. YouTube is something that we're new to. I don't like particularly being behind the camera, in front of the camera rather. I'd rather be behind a camera. It's me who takes photos and likes to be behind a camera usually. So we're new to that. So I don't know what we think of that yet. It's still new. Twitter, I use occasionally just to say we've got a YouTube, but don't really know. I'm not really fully got the hang of Twitter actually.
We might let's push on Twitter.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Okay, next one. Frenchy Levan has asked 2 questions. How does the weight and size limit your travel?
Hi, Frenchy Levan.
Hello.
I've often seen your posts because I know you're in beautiful places we visited in France. So I get very jealous sitting here on the drive, seeing all the places you're visiting. How does it affect us?
The only way it affects us really is when you're checking out places to stay, like an air in a city. The lorry is a Euro 4?
Euro 5.
Euro 5. And from the 26th of October this year, we won't be allowed any further than the M25, so we won't be able to get anywhere near London. And that's the same for places like Paris, Frankfurt, all these larger cities are all introducing these restrictions for the older lorries. I mean, I say older, it's 8 years old.
But we tend not to want to go into cities anyway, so it's not a problem. And we do have a car, so yeah, it's not really a problem, is it?
I mean, we took ferries over to Menorca, got on there no problem as a motorhome.
And it hasn't limited any of our travel.
No, and you also wanted to know our fuel usage per 100 kilometres, or miles per gallon. So we do 18 litres per 100 kilometres, which is about 16, 17 miles per gallon. Okay, Brett and Beck Valley Van wanted to know, was there ever a spot you thought maybe we shouldn't have taken Florrie down that road? There's two answers to this one.
Yeah.
The first one I'll keep very short. When I took it for the MOT, I ended up down a road which was just about wide enough for the lorry. The bushes were brushing side on both paths. I just thought, oh my God, what's Google done? I wasn't using the proper sat nav. And I just sat, I drove along thinking, don't meet a car, don't meet a car, don't meet a car. And I met an 18-tonner delivering gravel. So that wasn't great. But I got there. It was all sorted. We worked it out.
A bit late. But
a bit late.
I think the positive thing is, well, another road we went down, which it was getting late, wasn't it? It was starting to get late, and we were going up a mountain road on the Spanish side of the Pyrenees.
It was right on the border. Yeah,
and we were taking this road and we were going to a part for the night, actually. I was following Chris, because we have a car that follows... I've been driving a car that follows the lorry when we're travelling. And it was... We were tired, we'd been driving a long time, we'd been doing these mountain roads, round and round corners. And suddenly he stopped, and it was like a hill going up, and it was getting narrower and narrower. And he stopped, and he started reversing. And I just went into reverse, panicked. I went off the side a little bit. And anyway, it was a long story. Chris got out, tried to get the car out the ditch. We got out the ditch, but it caused a lot of noise. Up at the top of the road was this very, very old, ancient house. They called it
was a
Casa
village in the
Rural.
end, yeah.
And a bloke came down and started talking to us, saying, you know, what do you want, this and that, and we don't speak Spanish. It was really difficult. In some pidgin French, he spoke pidgin French and I speak French, so we managed to communicate. And I said I didn't need somewhere to stay, but because this was our home. And he said there's a car park up at the top that you can turn around and you can come back down, and it's his private car park, and that we could continue up. And so we continued up, and he ended up saying, look, if you want to stay the night up here, stay up here. We had panoramic views of the Pyrenees. Then he says, over there in the field, there's a swimming pool. And it was a beautiful saltwater swimming pool overlooking the Pyrenees with Buddhas everywhere. And he said, and there's water. And he gave us a code to get into the swimming pool and outside the pool. It was surreal, wasn't it?
It was,
like,
but it was a
like,
very
it was
narrow
like
road.
Our angel that came down. And so out of this adversity that we had, being tired, came something really wonderful, really.
So that to finish that one off, it was a dead end, so we did actually have to go back
Yeah,
down
we
that
did.
road.
We did have to go back down and around.
Didn't meet
However,
anyone
it
there,
ended
thankfully.
up in a good.
So there we go. We have driven in dodgy places.
Yes.
Joe Bethnal wants to know, where did we find Florrie the lorry? eBay is the answer to that one. There was a trader who sells old British gas vans.
Yeah.
And he'd picked up Florrie as an ex-removals van. It was the only 7.5 tonner he had. Really nice guy. We got chatting to him.
Very lucky.
And we kind of we made a deal with him because he told us all about his business and everything else. Very chatty guy. And he happened to have some business units he was building a few miles away. And we said, look, if we can park the lorry, because we told him we were going to convert it to a camper van, if we can park it there for a year, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
So we can do it up and things like that. And we ended up on a brownfield site. It wasn't the greatest for the dog. It was a bit manky. But it's a building site. What do you expect, to be honest? But, you know, we had water, we had power. We went up there every other weekend in the snow and in the rain.
It wasn't
everything
undercover,
else.
so that was a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But it was
was
the only
brilliant.
way. Yeah, it was brilliant because we lived in London when we were doing the lorry up. So
Yeah.
if we hadn't had that place where we bought Florrie from the guy, we wouldn't. It would have been very difficult to do up on the roadside. Really, I think.
Yeah, almost impossible.
In
I
London.
think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, eBay. Okay. Rainbows on the Road want to know why the name Florrie.
Hi, Rainbows on the Road. I hope you're doing okay in Turkey. Go visit them. They're on Instagram, Rainbows on the Road. Lead a brilliant life in their van. Why Florrie? I put a shout out to friends to give name. I've always given names to our motorhomes. We've had Papillon, our old motorhome. We've had Tinkerbell for the bongo. This one I put a shout out, and then Chris ended up coming out with the name Florrie the lorry because it matched with Lorry. Is that why?
Lorry with an F on
Florrie.
the front.
Yeah.
Rhymes. We thought of things like daffodil because it's a daff and stuff like that, but we weren't keen on those.
So it was just because it rhymed with
It rhymes.
lorry. However, Florrie has a root. The name Florrie, the way we spell it, has a root in Latin, and it means flowering in bloom. So actually, I think it's actually quite nice because we felt our life was changing, and it's actually sort of coincided flowering in bloom, and we're changing our life and blooming.
There you go.
Yeah, so I quite like it now.
Okay, Rose Tinted Bifocals would like to know our square footage of living space. So I had to actually work this one out, and I'm not good with feet. I'm more of a metric person. It's 154 square feet. I hope I've got that right. Which is 14 and a bit square meters. So we're 2.35 meters wide and 6.1 meters long. That's just the box.
And the height.
And the height is 2 meters 45. But obviously we've got the insulation and everything else there. I mean, both Catherine and I are nearly 6 foot tall, so you know we needed something with a bit of clearance. We wanted the bed quite high and to be able to sit up in the bed there, obviously.
Probably, yeah.
So we could have gone higher with the bed, but
yeah.
it's good. Next question is, What would we change? Now, this could be an hour-long video if we actually went through everything.
Yeah, we could just do a video of what would we change.
So I'm gonna go through what I think we would change, and then I'll let Catherine have her go. So we've got 2 sunroofs. There's one just above us here and one at the back. And we've also got 2 solar panels, and they're all the way at the front. So the front of the vehicle where the kitchen is quite dark, and we actually even put a second window in to help brighten it up a little bit. What I should have done is put solar panel, sunroof, solar panel, sunroof, and it would have evened the light out through the body. I think that's the major thing I would change. The door, I'm not happy. I don't think we've ever been happy with the door. I'd like to change that. Probably will change that at some point.
Is it the door? It's just maybe bringing the door lower and having.
Yeah, you know those
stairs
vehicles
within
where
the
they have a step on the inside, because in Spain you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, you're allowed to legally park up and stay the night in places, but you can't leave anything out. So we can't leave our stairs out, and it's a 1.5 meter drop. So you get, the dog can't get in and out easily when it needs to go for a wee and stuff. So every morning I had to jump out, grab the ladder, put it down, dog comes out, put ladder away, and it's a pain.
Yeah, I think we would like to have a few internal stairs going down to the door, and then just a few external. But that is something we're looking into doing.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I don't think, But we could go on, but like we said, that's another video.
Oh, we
so
do. We have
to go on. The other stuff's
endless list. Change the drawers. Change the dog for a smaller one. All sorts of
change
stuff.
the dog. Oh,
He's asleep down there. Okay. Given the problems you now have staying in the UK for the foreseeable future, is size going to be an issue?
no, I don't think so, because given I presume they're talking about the coronavirus and being stuck at the moment in the UK and borders being closed. As we've said before, we're really very lucky. We've got a driveway on a family house that we're able to park in. It is really tight getting into this driveway, I have to say. And we had just do it, and we had to cut back one of the trees on the side to get in. So I don't see it as a problem. And I do know there are, as we said again before, we have done a lot of travelling over the past 12 years in motorhomes, from a small bongo to a big motorhome to this, in the UK before. So we are aware of places we can go and where we can stay and be in a big vehicle. So I don't really see it as a big problem.
Okay, roasted into bifocals again. Have you had her weighed, and does that restrict you in any way? We weighed Florrie when she was almost finished. There was no bathroom, and she came in at, I'm going to have to look it up, 6.3 tons. 7.5 is the limit, obviously. So good 1,100 kilos to play with there. She went for MOT back in February, because we thought, this virus thing might just blow over in a week and we'll be off and going again. And she weighed 6.8 tons. Okay, final question is from the Tiny House Pirates. What was your main motivation for switching to a tiny travelling house?
Fed up with London at the rat race. My kids had grown up, and my girls were leaving home. They'd been to university. Chris has 3. We have 5 kids between us.
Hey, kids.
Yeah, loads of kids between us. No, so my 2 girls had grown up, had left home, and the house in London was my house. Chris used to see his kids every other weekend. Then they started coming holidays only, because as they get older, they want to be with their friends. Life was changing, and we found that we were living this rat race in London, trying to keep and maintain a large house in London with a large mortgage for just Chris and myself, really, and his kids in the holidays. And we just thought, why are we doing this? It caused us a lot of stress, didn't it, as well? We were getting stressed, and it just wasn't a good life anymore. It was great when the kids were growing up and everything was, but our life was adapting and changing. we travelled a lot anyway, like I said, but I used to teach, so we were always travelling in school holidays, which was costing lots of money. I thought, why are we doing this now? There's no need anymore to do this. Let's buy a lorry, do it up, go travelling, rent out the house, just live a simpler life. So that's what we did.
We never had any intention of buying a lorry. We were going to do this in a motorhome. We were always talking about going travelling for a longer period in a motorhome.
Yeah.
And it's only when we came across Inna's truck that we went, oh my God, let's buy a truck.
That's true. We've got a friend in Menorca where we go diving, and we went to her truck and we saw her lorry and how it was. We just thought, this is such a good idea. There is no need. And we were both very stressed, weren't we, though, as well? We were very stressed. And I think someone, I can't remember where or whatever, we were interviewed for a newspaper or an article about 3 months ago. And actually, she asked me a question which was quite interesting. And I just thought, the thing is, I said to her, if you've got problems, I know a lot of people may have problems, mental health issues or whatever, those problems are going to go with you wherever you go. It doesn't, changing our life substantially isn't going to change any of the problems we've got or things. Some of the problems we have are still there and things. But it was changing our lifestyle to suit us in a better way, to live a simpler life. We do love being outside. We do love being out in the open. So living in the lorry, I mean, we don't spend a lot of time in here. Even when it's raining, if you think about it, we're not hours, are we, in the lorry?
Only in winter.
Yeah, in winter a little bit.
That's why you get a wood burner, so you can just sit there in front of the fire, because they're so much better than diesel heaters. We've got one of those.
It has changed. It made it easier. It's a simpler life. It's more of an outdoor life, for sure. And also you realise, like recently with this lockdown, I don't know about how you felt, but I think having lived in here for a year before this all happened, we'd already changed our lives to in a big way, in that we weren't missing anything. We weren't, so it was because we were already living a simpler life, not needing this, not needing that, not having to, it didn't affect us. Easier life, in some ways.
And there we go. Your question's answered.
Don't forget to like, is it?
Like, subscribe, share.
Yeah, that's it. Share as well with anyone you know is interested. Bye.
Bye.